You're just jealous." That was the exact line my mom hit me with the day they handed Gianni the keys to a brand new Dodge Charger Hellcat. Like, what I stood there holding a bag of groceries I paid for, watching my little brother jump up and down in the driveway like a freaking lottery winner. And that's what I get. A year ago, the pattern was already set. Let's rewind for a sec. I'm Luke, 20 times. Electrical grid technician. Which sounds fancy until you realize it means I fix broken power poles in the freezing rain while my brother live streams his hot takes from the Hood podcast from his air-conditioned room. For free. In the house we both grew up in, except only one of us pays rent. Spoiler, not him. I've been paying my folks $500 a month since I turned 19. Gianni nada. My room hasn't changed since 8th grade. Same wallpaper, same saggy twin mattress. Meanwhile, Gianni turned the basement into a full-blown LED-lit studio. Says he's an entrepreneur. He reviews vape flavors and races cars for content. Sometimes shirtless. It's a vibe, I guess. I never really cared about the favoritism when we were kids. Thought maybe I was just too sensitive. But it got louder when we got older. Every win of mine was just Luke doing what's expected. Every bare minimum effort of his was OMG Gianni's finally trying. And the day he graduated community college with a 2.3 GPA after 6 years of changing majors and partying, they bought him that $70K muscle car with custom plates. The plate literally said G-Boss. I wish I was joking. Last month, the spiral starts. The Charger became his entire identity. Instagram reels of him casually drifting. TikToks of him faking like he's asleep while the car's in drive. Coming home at 3 a.m. windows down, blasting trap remixes like he was headlining Coachella in our sleepy Jersey suburb. And when I said, "Dude, you're gonna get someone killed," he just laughed and said, "Relax, Grandpa. The car drives better than you do." The worst part, I'd see him stumbling in reek of booze, red eyes slurring. And then the next morning, he'd be out there polishing the hood like it was a damn trophy. My mom, she'd bring him coffee like he was recovering from a war. Once I caught him handing the keys to a girl he just met at a bar. She could barely stand. I told him I'd call the cops next time. He deadass said, "You'd snitch on your own brother. That's cold, bro." No. What's cold is waking up every day and realizing you're only useful if you're bailing everyone else out. 2 weeks ago, the crash, it happened on a Thursday night. I was working a double shift. Got home dead tired. Around 3 a.m. I heard the front door slam. Then whispering. Then silence. At 5 a.m. the garage door closed. By 7, my dad's yelling woke me up. I walk outside and the Charger's parked half in, half out the garage. The front totaled. Airbags deployed. Windshield shattered. Passenger side looked like it fought a damn rhino. I found Gianni on the couch with a split lip giggling like it was a scratch on a Hot Wheels toy. My dad pacing. My mom making pancakes. Because apparently breakfast fixes felony-level drunk driving. Turns out Gianni crashed after leaving a bar. Blew past a red light. Swerved to miss a dog or a fire hydrant, I don't even know. And slammed headfirst into a tree on Pine Hill Drive. Miraculously, no one was hurt. But the car absolutely wrecked. Guess what the family emergency was this time? Yep, me. Last week. The setup begins. Saturday morning, I get called to the living room like I'm 12 again. Dad's in his serious talk pose, legs crossed, fingers steepled, like he's a CEO about to fire me from my own life. Luke, he says, insurance won't cover the repairs. It's considered driver negligence. And I said, yeah, that's what happens when you drift hammered into a tree. Mom cuts in. It's not the time to place blame. Really, when is the time after he kills someone? Then they drop it on me. The car's repairs will cost nearly $19,000. Dad says, we think it's only fair everyone contributes. You're the only one with stable income. I laughed, not because it was funny, but because it was so insane my brain couldn't process it normally. You want me to pay to fix the car he destroyed, doing the very thing I begged him not to do, are you high? Johnny, not missing a beat, says, you're always talking about moving out. You don't need a nice place if you're never home anyway. That line, that one flipped the switch. The quiet decision, I didn't scream. I didn't throw a chair. I just stood up, looked my parents in the eyes, and said, "Not a effing chance." Mom's voice cracked. "After everything we've done for you." I cut her off. Fame one thing. One. Silence. Johnny looked down at his phone like the whole convo bored him. Typical. So I walked out. And this time, I didn't come back with my tail tucked. I started sleeping with one eye open. Because I knew this wasn't over. That night after I refused to pay for the car, nobody said a word to me. Like, not even a passive-aggressive sigh or a "we'll talk about this later." Just silence. My dad walked past me twice without making eye contact. My mom slammed cabinets a little louder than usual, like she wanted the dishes to take the hit for her disappointment. And Gianni, he just kept doing his thing, streaming from the basement, flirting with his followers, posting throwbacks of the Charger with captions like, "She'll be back stronger." Bro, the car is literally a pile of scrap metal, but delusion unbreakable. Anyway, I thought maybe they'd simmer down after a few days. Spoiler, they didn't. The tension in that house got so thick I could taste it in my cereal. And, trust me, sour milk has nothing on passive-aggressive guilt. By Tuesday, I knew something shady was brewing. I'd catch them whispering in the kitchen, papers spread out on the table like they were planning a family heist. They'd shut up real fast whenever I walked in. One time, I heard my name mid-whisper, then a loud shh like we were in the middle of a church service. And I just stood there like, "Y'all know I live here, right?" But the real red flag, my old baseball bat, disappeared. Yeah, I had this beat-up aluminum bat from high school. I hadn't touched it in years. It lived at the back of my closet behind old concert tees and a box of mismatched socks. One morning I opened the closet and it was gone. Thought maybe I moved it, maybe one of them borrowed it. I didn't think much of it. Until Saturday. Saturday morning, the setup drops. 7 a.m. I'm sleeping in for once, right? No work, no plans. Then I get jolted awake by this loud metallic banging like someone's body slamming a trash can. I jump out of bed, check out the window. Nothing. I figure maybe the garbage truck came early or someone's kid is going through their drummer phase. I crawl back into bed. An hour later, I wake up to full-on yelling. I throw on a hoodie, stumble down the stairs, and there they are. My parents and Gianni standing in the garage like they just discovered a murder scene. The Charger, if you could even still call it that, looked like it went 10 rounds with Godzilla. The windshield was now completely shattered, all the windows gone, dents on every door, side mirrors dangling like they tried to escape the shame. It looked worse than after the crash. And then I hear it. "He did this," Johnny's voice shaky with fake outrage. "He's been pissed ever since you didn't buy him a car. He probably came out here last night and smashed it up with this." He holds up something in the air. My goddamn bat. I stared at it for a second, confused as hell. Like, are we doing this? Is this actually happening? My dad holds the bat like it's a smoking gun. "We found it in the bushes." "What bushes?" I ask. "Outside the garage," my mom snaps. "Don't play dumb." I laugh because what else do you even do when your own family frames you for felony vandalism? "You're seriously trying to pin this on me?" I ask, looking each of them dead in the eye. Gianni shrugs. "Who else would have done it? Random hater from the neighborhood." "Yeah, okay." They said they already called the insurance company. Apparently, they're filing a claim for post-accident vandalism. The crash, sure, insurance won't cover it because he was clearly drunk, but vandalism, that's covered. And they needed a fall guy. Guess who was conveniently angry enough to make a good suspect? "You're the only one with a motive." They kept repeating that. "You've been resentful for years. You've always hated that Gianni got more attention. You refused to help pay for the repairs." Yeah, because I'm not a fucking moron. Here's the thing though, if this was just about insurance fraud, it'd be bad enough. But it wasn't just that. It was personal. This was their way of punishing me for saying no. My dad literally said actions have consequences. I said, so does framing someone for a felony, but okay. They even had a full-ass script for the insurance investigator. The bat in the bushes, the late-night noise, the motive. They really thought they were being slick. But it was sloppy as hell. Sunday night. My countermove. I stayed calm, which surprised even me. I didn't yell. I didn't scream. I didn't throw the bat back through the windshield like I wanted to. I just went upstairs, locked my door, and texted my boss asking for Monday off. Because if they thought I was going to roll over and let them throw me under the bus to save Golden Boy, they were out of their damn minds. Monday morning, the insurance investigator showed up. Guy looked like he walked out of a divorced dad private investigator sitcom. Name was Mac. Wore khakis, carried a tablet, didn't smile once. My parents greeted him like they were hosting tea with the Queen. Gianni played the victim bruised face arm in a sling, which by the way he never wore before, and a whole speech about how some people just can't handle seeing others happy. It was straight up theater. Mac interviewed them all first, separately. Then, finally, it was my turn. The interview that changed everything. I sat at the kitchen table across from Mac while he took notes like a human lie detector. He asked me where I was Friday night. I told him the truth. I was home asleep. Got off work, played some Xbox, went to bed. I even had online friends who could verify I was gaming till about 11 p.m. Then I said the one thing they didn't expect. By the way, that car, it was already destroyed before Saturday morning. Your client left a bar wasted out of his mind and drove it into a tree. Mac's pen stopped mid-scribble. Go on, he said. I laid it all out. The crash, the cover-up, the pressure to help pay, the family meeting, the threats, the missing bat, everything. Then I told him to check the airbags. They'd already been deployed from the first accident. The new damage, completely separate. Mac blinked, nodded, and kept typing. No smile, no gotcha, just pure insurance bot energy. Then he said, anyone around here have security cameras? And I said, not that I know of, but they might. That was the moment I realized something. They picked the wrong scapegoat. Tuesday afternoon, the twist. I get a text from a number I don't recognize. It's Mac. Can you meet at Starbucks at 4 p.m. Quiet follow-up. I'm already there by 3:50. He slides into the booth, laptop in hand, and drops the bomb. We found footage. Neighbor 2 doors down just got a new Ring camera. It caught everything. He plays the clip. 2 to 14 a.m. Gianni hoodie up, dragging my bat out of the garage. Limping, yeah, but clearly walking just fine. He walks up to the charger and starts smashing it. Calmly. Like he's performing surgery. Breaks every window. Dents the hood. Then casually tosses the bat into the bushes. I blink. Jesus, I say. Mac nods. You want to press charges? I didn't hesitate. Hell yeah, I do. The second I walked out of Starbucks, I felt like I could breathe for the first time in weeks. I wasn't even angry at that point. I was just done, tired, numb, and kinda amazed that it took a damn doorbell camera to confirm what I already knew. My family would rather watch me burn than hold Gianni accountable for anything. I didn't go home right away. I parked down the street, blasted some music in my car, and just stared at the sky like some indie film protagonist having a moment. I was trying to figure out how the hell I got here. Like, how do you grow up with people share birthdays, photos, Christmas dinners, and they still look you dead in the face and frame you? Over a fucking car. By the time I pulled into the driveway, there was a police cruiser already parked outside. Well, showtime. What the hell did you do? My mom met me at the door, mascara smudged like she just finished a soap opera scene. My dad stood behind her, arms crossed, jaw clenched so tight I thought he might bite through his own teeth. The cops were just here, she screamed. They're saying Gianni could be charged with insurance fraud. I stepped inside, calm as hell. Yeah, because he committed insurance fraud. She actually gasped, like I'd said Voldemort's name out loud. You're blowing this out of proportion. He made a mistake. No, I snapped. He tried to ruin my life. That's not a mistake. That's a plan. Dad got in my face. You better fix this. Call them. Say it was all a misunderstanding. If you know what's good for you. I stepped back, held up my phone. You threatening me right now? His nostrils flared, but he didn't say another word. Typical alpha male energy, big bark, no bite. Gianni finally came down the stairs, moving slow like he thought limping would earn him points. He looked pale, nervous. First time I'd seen him without that smug little I'm untouchable smirk. You called the cops on your own brother, he said, voice cracking. I looked him dead in the eye. You stopped being my brother the moment you tried to put a felony on my name. That evening, the exit. I didn't stay for the rest of the meltdown. I packed a duffel bag, clothes charger, birth certificate, passport, the essentials. Tossed it in my trunk and texted Chris, my best friend since high school. Me, can I crash for a bit? Shit went nuclear. Chris, room's ready. Got Chinese and beer. A real one. As I was walking out, my mom did this whole dramatic thing where she tried to block the door. If you walk out now, she said, shaking, don't bother coming back. You're choosing to destroy this family. I stared at her for a second, and then I said quietly, no, I'm just choosing not to let this family destroy me. And I walked. She started crying harder. My dad mumbled something about betrayal and respect. Gianni, he just stood there, arms crossed, like he was still waiting for someone else to fix his mess. Screw that. Tuesday night. First real sleep in months. Chris's place was chaos in the best way. Mismatched furniture, weird cat dishes stacked in the sink. But it felt safe. Honest. No one yelling. No one gaslighting me into thinking I was overreacting. I crashed on his couch and slept like a damn baby. The next few days, weirdly peaceful. Went to work, ate real meals, slept through the night. Didn't hear anyone slamming cabinets or whispering behind doors. Meanwhile, the group chat with my parents and Gianni was blowing up. I ignored it, blocked their numbers eventually. I'd said what I needed to say. The cops were handling the rest. Thursday morning, the charges drop. Got a call from Officer Rivera. She was the one handling the case. Calm voice, but all business. We've reviewed the footage, interviewed the parties, and submitted charges to the DA. He'll be charged with filing a false police report, attempted insurance fraud, and vandalism. I let out a breath I didn't realize I'd been holding. Thank you, I said. You're doing the right thing, she replied. This kind of manipulation, it doesn't just go away if you ignore it. She wasn't wrong. What really hit me, though, was what she said next. We've also noted inconsistencies in your parents' statements. There may be future legal consequences depending on how far they were involved. My heart dropped. It's one thing to be betrayed by your brother. But realizing your own parents might face charges for covering it up, that was something else. I didn't know whether to feel vindicated or sick. Maybe both. A week later, the fallout begins. Gianni got arrested. They didn't cuff him in public or anything dramatic like that. It was a scheduled pickup. But still, he had to ride in the back of a cruiser, take a mugshot, get fingerprinted. Mom apparently cried so hard she almost fainted. Dad tried to talk tough until they showed him the ring cam footage. After that, he just shut up and sat down. Their insurance dropped them. The claim denied. Their premiums skyrocketed. Their finances wrecked. Turns out, when you commit fraud and get caught, insurance companies don't exactly roll out a welcome mat. They tried calling me, again. Left voicemails, sent emails, even showed up at Chris's building once. Chris told them to leave or he'd call the cops. Legend. Gianni, he sent a jailhouse message through the app they use, said he was sorry and didn't think it'd go this far, then asked if I could send him some commissary money because the food sucked. I blocked him mid-message. The most unexpected text. One afternoon, a message popped up from my aunt, my dad's sister. We weren't close growing up, but she always seemed different, quieter, kinder. Her message: I'm proud of you. I saw what happened. They did the same thing to me years ago, just not as loud. We talked on the phone for 2 hours that night. Turns out she was the black sheep of the family before I was. Left home at 22. Cut them off. Built a whole life they never acknowledged. And guess what? She was doing just fine. She even offered to help me with legal advice if I wanted to pursue civil charges for emotional distress and defamation. Part of me wanted to. But honestly, I was more focused on healing. The day I finally looked in the mirror and didn't feel small. I got a new apartment, just a little one-bedroom, nothing fancy. No car engine revving at 3 a.m. No one calling me ungrateful for protecting myself. No framed pictures of Gianni on every wall. I hung one photo in my hallway, a picture of me at age 10, The last time I remember feeling truly safe in that house. I didn't hang it out of nostalgia. I hung it as a promise to that kid. I got you now. Every time I pass it, I nod. Because I did what nobody else would. I stood up. I walked away. I chose me. It had been about 6 weeks since I walked out of that house and didn't look back. Long enough to feel the peace settle in, but recent enough that I still flinched every time I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. Trauma's weird like that. Your body remembers even when your brain's pretending to be chill. Anyway, things were starting to feel almost normal. I had a routine, again work during the day, night classes twice a week, finally getting that MBA off the ground, and on weekends I'd grab tacos with Chris or take long-ass walks just to clear my head. It was the kind of boring, beautiful life I never thought I'd get while living in that house. But of course, it didn't stay quiet for long. Because if there's one thing narcissistic parents hate, it's losing control. Hey, we're just checking in. That's how it started. A voicemail from my mom. Her voice all soft and shaky like she just woke up from a crying nap. We know things got tense, but we're still your family. We miss you. Please call us. Miss me? You mean the guy you tried to frame for a felony? Right. Then came the emails. Lengthy ones from my dad full of what happened to family loyalty, and we were under a lot of stress and my personal favorite. You should have handled it privately like a man. Yeah, because being privately gaslit and thrown under the bus is peak masculinity, I guess. I ignored every message, every ping, every just talk to us. They weren't reaching out to fix things, they were panicking. The court case was still active. Gianni's legal bills were piling up and their reputation in town not looking so hot. Apparently, news spreads fast in communities like ours, especially when your golden boy's mugshot makes the local news site. The knock on my door. It was a Tuesday evening. I'd just finished reheating some leftover pasta and was settling in to watch The Bear when there was a knock. I wasn't expecting anyone. Chris was out of town, delivery was already done, and the landlord always texts first. I looked through the peephole. It was them. Both of them. My parents. Standing outside my apartment like lost tourists. My mom had a grocery bag in her hands like she thought she could buy her way back into my life with produce and awkward eye contact. I opened the door halfway. My dad spoke first. Can we come in? I stared at him, dead silent, then looked at my mom. We just want to talk, she said, face to face. I stepped out, closed the door behind me, and stood there, blocking the entrance like a damn bouncer. What do you want? I asked. They looked different. Not humbled exactly, but definitely not as smug as they used to be. My dad's shirt was wrinkled. My mom's hair was messy. They looked tired. We're selling the house, my mom said. Okay. We're broke, she added. Legal fees, fines, repairs, the car loan. It's all gone. Everything. My dad sighed like this was supposed to make me feel bad. And you're telling me because... They shuffled, avoided eye contact. We need help. There it was, the real reason. Not reconciliation, not closure, not even guilt. They wanted money. So, let me get this straight. I let them finish their sob story. About how the insurance company dropped them. How my dad lost his job after the scandal. How Gianni's influencer deals dried up. How they couldn't even afford a U-Haul to move out. Then I asked, so let me get this straight. You want me? The guy you made pay rent since I was 18. The guy you gaslit, the guy you tried to frame for a felony to bail you out now. They just stood there. My mom started crying. My dad tried tough love. We're still your parents. I laughed, like loud, probably scared the guy in the next apartment. You're not my parents, I said. You're just two people I used to share a roof with. Then I added, you remember when I asked for help with school loans and you said, figure it out, life's tough. Yeah, me too. And I walked back inside. Didn't slam the door, didn't yell. Just closed it. Slow. The message that sealed it. That night I got a message from Johnny. From jail. No greeting, just, guess you're proud of yourself. You ruined my life. I stared at it for a while. Then I wrote back. No, you ruined your own life. I just stopped taking the hits for it. Blocked him after that. That was the last time I heard from him. Life slowly rebuilding. A few months passed. I got a raise at work, landed a freelance gig on the side, paid off one of my student loans. I finally bought a used car that didn't sound like a dying blender every time I turned the key. I started sleeping better, dreaming more, laughing without feeling guilty for it. Chris and I started hitting the gym again. My aunt sent me a surprise check to help with books for grad school. She said it was her fuck them fund. Honestly, I didn't even know I was healing until one random Thursday, when I passed by a car dealership and saw a brand new Charger in the lot. Same model Gianni totaled. Same color. And I didn't feel anything. Not anger, not jealousy, not pain. Just nothing. Freedom tastes a lot like silence. Rebuilding my concept of family. Chris had a small birthday get-together that weekend. Just a few close friends, pizza, cheap beer, and Mario Kart. We stayed up late swapping dumb stories and roasting each other. At one point, someone said, "It's wild how close you guys are, like actual family." And Chris looked at me and said without missing a beat, "That's because we are." I don't think he meant to make me emotional, but I damn near had to excuse myself to the bathroom for a minute. Because yeah, that's what family feels like. Not forced loyalty, not conditional love, just safety. What I've learned. People talk a lot about blood is thicker than water, but that's not the full quote. The full version is, the blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb, which basically means the bonds you choose are stronger than the ones you're born with. And holy shit, is that true? My parents gave birth to me, but they never chose me. Not once. Not when I got straight A's. Not when I paid rent to live in my childhood bedroom. Not when I begged them to see how unfair things were. But my friends, my chosen people, they picked me. Every time. And now I pick me too. About 3 months after my parents tried to guilt their way into my wallet, I got a letter in the mail. Real mail. Like envelope postage, the whole deal. No return address, just my name, printed neat and small. Inside was a handwritten note. From my dad. I stared at it for a full 5 minutes before opening it. I almost tossed it out. I figured it was going to be more of the same. We did our best. You misunderstood. You'll regret this when we're gone. Blah, blah, blah. But no, this time it hit different. He wrote, "I don't expect forgiveness. I don't even expect you to finish reading this. But I need to say something I never did when it mattered. You were right. About all of it. About the way we treated you, the way we let Gianni get away with everything, the way we made you feel invisible. I see it now. I'm sorry. Not just for what we did, but for who we made you have to be." It kept going. Pages, actually. 4 of them. He talked about his own upbringing, about how he was the ignored kid in his family, and how he swore he'd never do the same. And somehow, that turned into doing exactly that to me. He admitted they helped Johnny stage the damage, said they felt cornered, desperate, and panicked. He admitted it was wrong. He said they'd lost everything. Money, respect, their social circle, even most of the extended family had cut them off. Said they were moving to a smaller place 2 towns over. He gave the address but didn't ask me to visit. He just laid it out. No manipulation, no guilt bombs. And at the end, one sentence stuck with me. "I'm not asking for your love back. I'm just hoping you get to live the kind of life we never gave you space to." Yeah, that one landed. The impact complicated. I didn't know what to do with it. I wasn't suddenly moved to call him or rush over with hugs and forgiveness. But I didn't burn the letter either. I folded it up, tucked it into a box I keep in my closet, same one. I keep my diploma, a couple childhood drawings, and that photo of 10-year-old me. I didn't reply. But I read it. Twice. And that felt like enough. For now. Meanwhile, Gianni was still in county. Turns out when you try to commit insurance fraud, then double down with a false police report, courts aren't super forgiving. Even if your mom cries in every courtroom like an Oscar nominee. He ended up getting 6 months in county jail, 3 years probation, a $10,000 fine, 5 years without a license. mandatory AA meetings, and community service. Honestly, it could have been worse. And yet somehow he still managed to blame everyone but himself. According to mutual friends who hadn't blocked him yet, he was telling people I set him up like I'd orchestrated the entire downfall from the beginning. As if I had the time or energy to play 4D chess with someone who thought autopilot meant invincible. Then came the surprise. Chris and I were grabbing tacos one night when he said, "You ever think you'd want to talk to Gianni again, like, face to face?" I choked on a chip. Nope. But Chris looked serious. I only ask because he's been writing to me. I blinked. Excuse me. He nodded. I guess he figured you wouldn't respond. Said he wanted me to pass a message if I thought you'd listen. I crossed my arms. Why the hell would you even entertain that? Because I've seen you carry this like a damn anchor. And I think you need to hear him admit it. Not for him, for you. I didn't answer, mostly because I hated how much sense it made. The visit. A week later, I stood in the visitor section of the county jail, arms crossed, heart thudding, like it was trying to escape my chest. Gianni walked in wearing a jumpsuit that looked about 3 sizes too big. No swagger, no smirk. Just this tired, sunken version of the guy I used to know. We didn't say anything at first, just stared. Then he sat down across from me. And for once, he didn't start with excuses. "I fucked up," he said. I leaned back. "Yeah, you did." He nodded. It's like I was trying to prove I mattered more, and instead I proved I didn't deserve anything I was given. That stopped me. Because I'd waited so long to hear something real from him, and now that it was here, I didn't know what to do with it. "I hated how easy it was for you," he said. "You always worked your ass off, always did everything right." And still, they looked at me like I was the one who needed saving. I let out a short, bitter laugh. "You're telling me." "I was jealous," he said. That one stung, but it also clicked. He didn't just get handed everything because he was the favorite. He leaned into being the train wreck because that was the only role he thought he could play to stay important. Still didn't excuse it, but it explained it. "I'm not asking for anything," he said. "No money, no help. I want you to know I get it now, and I'm sorry." Closure isn't always a hug. We talked for maybe 30 minutes. About the house being gone. About how the local gossip ruined our parents' social life. About how he might try to start over once he got out, away from the influencer crap, the parties, the persona. I told him I hoped he actually meant that. And when they called time, I stood up and said, "We're not good. But I'm glad you're starting to see it." He nodded. And that was it. I left not feeling vindicated, not angry, just clearer. Full circle. 2 nights later, I passed by the old neighborhood. Just for the hell of it. The house was empty. For sale sign crooked on the lawn. Paint peeling. Garage still had a dent in the side panel. That felt poetic, honestly. I parked across the street and just sat there for a bit. Remembered coming home late from work and seeing Gianni doing donuts in the driveway. Remembered arguing with my mom at the dinner table. Remembered lying in bed at 2 a.m. wondering how long I could keep doing this. And now I was on the other side of it. I turned the engine back on, rolled the window down, took one last look. Then I drove away. Didn't even flinch.